it's missed out on an estimated 10 million package deliveries.
Mediated talks between Canada Post and the union representing its workers have been suspended.
Yeah.
A CBC reporter just dropped a bombshell that's shaking the Canadian political landscape. You won't believe what they uncovered about Trudeau's alleged mistress and her role in recent controversies. From the Canada Post strike to the gun ban fiasco, this explosive report connects the dots in ways you've never seen before. Prepare for shocking revelations that could change everything you thought you knew about Canadian politics. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. The CBC reporter cornered Trudeau's alleged mistress in a tense standoff that left everyone watching in shock. Armed with damning evidence of mismanagement and corruption, the reporter unleashed a barrage of questions that had the mistress visibly shaken. As the confrontation heated up, the reporter dropped a bombshell revelation, exposing the mistress's secret connections to Canada Post strike leadership.
When Canada Post workers go on strike, the vast majority of letter mail just doesn't get delivered.
They can't pay their groceries or their rent.
Postal workers have fallen far behind, as many people within the society have fallen behind.
This explosive information sent shockwaves through social media, with outraged citizens demanding answers. But the reporter wasn't done yet. They pushed even harder, grilling the mistress about her influence on government policies. The mistress tried desperately to deflect, but the reporter's relentless questioning left her nowhere to hide. With each new piece of evidence presented, the mistress's attempts at defense crumbled. The public watched in real time as the truth unfolded, their anger growing with each revelation. The reporter's masterful questioning laid bare the web of corruption for all to see. As the pressure mounted, the mistress's composure completely fell apart. In a shocking moment that left viewers stunned, she abruptly stormed off, refusing to answer any more questions. But her hasty exit only fueled further speculation about what she might be hiding. This unforgettable showdown proved the power of real investigative journalism. The reporter's fearless pursuit of the truth exposed a scandal that could bring down the entire government, and it's clear this is just the beginning. There are still so many unanswered questions about how deep this corruption really goes. The confrontation may be over, but the fallout is just beginning. As more details emerge, the public's demand for accountability grows louder by the minute. One thing is certain, Canadian politics will never be the same after this explosive revelation. Just when you thought the scandal couldn't get any bigger, the reporter uncovers a startling connection. The mistress's fingerprints are all over a controversial gun ban that's falling apart at the seams. But the real shocker? It involves a foreign ally and weapons that aren't fit for combat. The reporter shifts their laser focus to the government's controversial gun ban policy, and what they find is explosive. Newly uncovered documents reveal the mistress's deep involvement in drafting the legislation. This isn't just some minor policy. We're talking about a ban on 324 types of so-called battle-ready guns. But here's where it gets wild. These guns aren't actually ready for battle at all. Ukrainian officials dropped a bombshell when they flat out rejected Canada's offer to send these guns. Why? Because they're not even NATO compatible and could overheat quickly in actual combat situations. This revelation has gun owners across Canada seeing red. They've been saying all along that this ban unfairly targets law-abiding citizens, and now it looks like they were right. As word spreads, public support for the gun ban is crumbling faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. People are furious, feeling like they've been lied to by their own government. Gun owners and opposition parties are demanding answers, and they want them now. How could the government claim these guns were battle ready when a country actually fighting a war says they're useless? The government is in full panic mode, scrambling to defend a policy that's looking shakier by the minute. But every attempt at explanation just digs them deeper into a hole of contradictions. The reporter isn't letting up, exposing the massive gap between what the government claimed and what's actually true. This gun ban fiasco is more than just a policy gone wrong. It's a stark example of how deep the mistress's influence runs, and how it's affecting real people's lives. Law-abiding gun owners feel betrayed, taxpayers are questioning where their money is going, and our international allies are scratching their heads at Canada's decisions. As the reporter connects the dots between the mistress, the flawed legislation, and the international embarrassment, it's clear this scandal is far from over. The government's credibility is taking hit after hit, and Canadians are left wondering what other policies might be built on shaky foundations. One thing's for sure, this reporter isn't done digging, and there's no telling what they might uncover next. The gun ban scandal was just the tip of the iceberg. As the reporter digs deeper, they stumble upon a connection that nobody saw coming. It turns out the Mistress's fingerprints are all over another crisis, one that's about to hit Canadians where it hurts most, their holiday plans and their pocketbooks. The reporter's investigation reveals a shocking link between the Mistress's influence and the government's mishandling of the Canada Post strike. This isn't just about delayed Christmas cards, it's causing massive ripple effects across the entire economy. Amazon and other major delivery services are facing serious disruptions, leaving businesses and consumers in the lurch.
Then think about packages. Canada Post figures with 55,000 workers on strike since mid-November.
Mediated talks between Canada Post and the union representing its workers have been suspended.
Yeah.
With the holiday season just around the corner, chaos is looming. Deliveries are grinding to a halt, threatening to derail the busiest shopping time of the year. Small businesses that rely on online sales are panicking, while frustrated shoppers wonder if their gifts will arrive in time. The economic impact is snowballing, and Canadians are furious.
And Canada Post needs your business because it just announced a third quarter loss.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now!
It's missed out on an estimated 10 million package deliveries.
Opposition parties are having a field day, accusing the government of total economic incompetence. They're demanding answers about how this critical situation was allowed to spiral out of control, but the reporter isn't done dropping bombshells. In a stunning revelation, the reporter presents evidence of secret meetings between the Mistress and union leaders. These clandestine talks raise serious questions about her influence on strike negotiations and the government's handling of the crisis. It's looking more and more like backroom deals, and personal connections are dictating national policy. As the true cost of this mismanagement becomes clear, public anger is reaching a boiling point. Canadians are watching their holiday plans crumble and their wallets take a hit, all because of what appears to be government incompetence and improper influence. The economic fallout is spreading far beyond just the postal service, threatening to impact every sector of the economy.
With our members off for a week, we've already lost 2% of our annual wages.
The federal government actually keeps track of major labor negotiations.
This postal strike fiasco is shaping up to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. With each new revelation, trust in the government plummets further. Canadians are left wondering how deep this web of influence really goes, and what other critical decisions might have been compromised. One thing's for sure, this reporter's relentless pursuit of the truth is far from over. With the evidence mounting, the reporter decided it was time for the final confrontation. Armed with a damning summary of all they had uncovered, they cornered the Mistress for one last showdown. The tension in the air was electric as the reporter laid out the facts, connecting the dots between the gun ban fiasco, the postal strike chaos, and the Mistress's shadowy influence. As the accusations flew, the Mistress's attempts at defense crumbled like a house of cards. Her excuses rang hollow in the face of such overwhelming evidence. The reporter, sensing blood in the water, went for the kill. In a moment that left viewers stunned, they demanded the Mistress's immediate resignation. The impact was immediate and explosive. Within minutes, Resign Now was trending nationwide on social media. Canadians from coast to coast joined the chorus, their outrage echoing across the digital landscape. Public figures and politicians, sensing the shift in public opinion, quickly jumped on the bandwagon. Even some members of the government's own party began distancing themselves from the scandal. The government's attempts at damage control were pathetic. Their weak explanations and flimsy excuses only fueled the fire of public anger. As the pressure mounted, cracks began to show in the Mistress's composure. The reporter's relentless questioning left no room for evasion, boxing her into a corner from which there was no escape. Finally, in a moment that will go down in Canadian political history, the Mistress broke. With the weight of her actions crashing down around her, she admitted to improper influence over government policies. The confession sent shockwaves through the nation, leaving Canadians reeling from the depth of corruption exposed. This admission is just the beginning. As the full extent of the scandal comes to light, questions are swirling about who else might be implicated. The reporter's fearless pursuit of the truth has reshaped the Canadian political landscape, leaving voters questioning everything they thought they knew about their government.